President of the United States Lines and government and shipyard officials signed the contract for the greatest single shipbuilding project ever undertaken in this country. The nation's press took up the story, for this meant that our country was about to build a superliner that would write headlines in American maritime history. First known as hull number 488, our ship was begun at the Newport News Shipbuilding Yard at Newport News, Virginia. On a cold February morning in 1950, we laid her keel. American know-how began building the greatest ship in the world, about which other nations had grave doubts. Assembling the many pieces and parts that go into the building of a great ship is an operation that is a masterpiece of industrial planning. Every part was prefabricated ashore. Pieces and parts from some 800 American manufacturing companies in nearly every state in the Union. More than 183,000 prefabricated pieces in the construction of the hull alone. The combined skills of every known trade of organized labor and our country's leading naval architects, shipbuilders, and industrialists set to work to build the greatest ship in the world. For it was the special skills of many men, the technical knowledge of many master craftsmen known as America's industrial might, that helped the United States to write headlines. Built into the superliner were features of strength, of speed and safety unknown in shipbuilding even a few short years ago. Here you see the world's largest funnels being put into place. June 1951 saw the day when hull 488 would exchange her number for a name and write new headlines. Mrs. Tom Connolly, wife of our former senator from Texas, christened her, you name, for the world's greatest ship. A ship that would be the First Lady of the Seas in peacetime and the greatest single naval auxiliary in time of national emergency. Now we had another 12 months of work outfitting the ship and making her ready for sea. At this stage, 3,000 men were working inside the ship to complete the work on schedule. Here you see these workers streaming ashore for lunch. When they turned over her powerful quadruple screws for the run from Newport News to New York, her potential speed was known only to those who had observed her perform in test trials off the Virginia Capes. After her trial runs, many of her performances remained a secret, but she sailed from the yard where she was built to her berth at her home port of New York. Her entry into New York Harbor for the first time on June 23, 1952, gave the world a first glimpse of the tremendous acclaim she was destined to receive in the days just ahead. Thousands of words were written to describe her size and beauty. A ship 5 city blocks in length. A ship so large that if stood on end, she'd tower above 70-story Rockefeller Center. A vessel capable of transporting 14,000 troops in the event of an emergency, 10,000 miles, without stopping for fuel, fresh water, or provisions. A ship specifically designed to be able to transit the Panama Canal. Her home berth, Pier 86, North River, New York. Great metropolitan dailies throughout the nation, as well as small weeklies, gave her arrival at her home port of New York the full treatment. Veteran American news writers paid tribute with regal superlatives. From coast to coast, headlines hailed America's bid for merchant marine supremacy. Headlines that said, In the superliner United States, America really has something to give her the same leadership on the seas as she has achieved in every other field of industrial endeavor. With this Naval Reserve Pennant, our new ship receives her official commission as a part of the Reserve Fleet of the United States Navy. On June 28, 1952, we declared open house for visitors. 23,000 starting to form lines at 7 a.m. were given an opportunity to see the superliner United States. Some of the things they saw, in order of class, tourist, cabin, and first class, the public rooms, of which there are 26, all beautifully decorated, featuring sea and sky colors with an extensive use of white and off-whites. This most modern floating hotel is completely fireproof, the only wood on board being the pianos and the butcher's shopping block. All bedrooms are large and roomy and completely air-conditioned with an individual thermostatic control unit in each room. Traveling throughout the ship, our visitors found each of the three classes furnished with exquisite taste and designed for complete comfort. The three dining rooms equipped to serve its 1,700 passengers superbly are decorated in the finest taste. With its three modern kitchens, the superliner United States is a gourmet's delight. On July 3, 1952, we made ready to send the United States on her maiden voyage. New York City to Le Havre, France, and Southampton, England. Only those who have attended such a departure can know the thrill of this eventful moment. For those who sailed on her, it will be a day long remembered. As we moved out of New York Harbor, we had no official word that the United States would even attempt to make a record run. But as the big ship neared Ambrose Light, traditional starting point, every one of us aboard, and most of those ashore, seemed to know this was it. Outwardly, our 1,700 passengers were taking the maiden voyage like any other crossing. However, there was an undercurrent of excitement to be felt in every quarter of the ship. From the chart room to the engine room, a glorious effort was being made to prove America's merchant marine supremacy and to justify the faith of those who believed in the superliner United States. This was our record from the time we passed Ambrose Light. 696 miles the first day, better than 34 knots. 801 miles the second day, now doing better than 35 knots. Third day, 814 miles, 36 knots and still climbing, better than 40 land miles per hour. As we neared Bishop's Rock off England's coast, our pride in the new First Lady of the Seas mounted with each passing hour. Somehow we knew she would fulfill the role for which she was destined. We were not to be disappointed. She had made the eastward crossing in 3 days, 10 hours, 40 minutes. Average speed over 35 knots, a terrific record. By radio shortwave, the news was flashed around the world. For the first time in almost 100 years, an American ship flying the American flag had regained the transatlantic speed record. The superliner United States was writing new headlines. As in Dublin, London, Manchester, Glasgow, headlines in Amsterdam, Holland, in Rome, Stockholm, Copenhagen, Brussels, Geneva, Lisbon, Cairo. We also wrote newsreel headlines, headlines carried by every one of the major newsreels and television stations. The people of Le Havre, long accustomed to seeing ships of all nations visit their port, lined every vantage point to welcome the great vessel on its first visit to their port. This was an occasion. This was something to tell their grandchildren. Camera fans had a holiday. We don't stay long in the Havre. Our skipper is eager to get on to Southampton. Britain's greatest seaport city gave us a tremendous reception. Fact is, the people of Britain seemed eager to reassure us that after holding the record for so many years, they had nothing but admiration for our achievement. As we berthed at the ocean terminal, veteran harbormen said it was the biggest welcome for a ship that they could remember. They had never seen so much excitement and such a spontaneous turnout. Commodore Manning was understandably pleased with his ship's record run. 2 days later, we were on our way home, heading westward now, bound for New York. This time, everybody suspected the United States was going to try to capture the record westbound too. Our progress was followed with excited anticipation from the moment we passed Bishop's Rock until 3.5 days later, when Ambrose Lightship sounded her salute of 3 welcoming blasts. The race was over. We were back in New York, and we brought home the bacon. It was quite a moment. Official time for the westward run, 3 days, 12 hours, 12 minutes. Average speed, nearly 35 knots. Again, headlines told the story. Headlines that captured the imagination of the American people from coast to coast. Headlines that carried the message of America's maritime triumph in every language under the sun. New York gave us one of those harbor receptions that only the big town knows how to give. Lower Broadway from the Battery to City Hall, the officers and men of the superliner United States were given the kind of welcome New York reserves only for its heroes. Cadets from the United States Maritime Academy at Kings Point, Long Island, served as a guard of honor. In bettering the previous round-trip record time by more than 19.5 hours, the American superliner United States won the coveted British Hales Trophy and recaptured the Atlantic Blue Ribbon. A truly glorious saga of America's merchant marine, written on the high seas by the wake of the world's fastest ship. Indeed, a fitting tribute to the faith and vision of the men who knew it could be done.